What's going on, folks? Welcome back to D-Life HD. This is Victor, and a quick note. For some reason, my throat is a little bit stopped up, so I apologize for that. But today we are going to be discussing my personal E3 pipe dreams. Later on, I don't know, maybe this week or next week, we're going to be doing a long-form discussion that has our actual predictions. These are just things that I don't think are possible, but I would still like to see them come true. So without any further delay, let's jump right into it.
I was a worker, had to upgrade to a boss. Used to live in the hood, but had to upgrade to a loft.
I guess we're going to just start with the less important ones, and then as we get towards the end of the list, those are the ones that I'm going to want even more. But I guess starting off here, I would like a playable demo for Monster Hunter Stories 2. Now, they did a demo for Monster Hunter Stories 1, and they typically do demos for all the mainline Monster Hunter games, but I'm not sure that we would actually get a demo during E3 time. I have a feeling it'll come a lot later, maybe later on in the month of June, but it would be awesome to have a playable demo during the event, so it's kind of like we get that experience of being able to test out games like people who would go to the actual show floor do, but from our own homes. I know in the past a couple people have done this, but it would be really cool if they just load up a Monster Hunter Stories 2 demo on the eShop, allow everybody to download it, and then, who knows, maybe even do like a feedback survey. But it'd be really awesome to be able to test out the game itself. I'm still debating on whether or not I would want to play the demo, because with Monster Hunter Rise, I kind of went all out with the information. I covered a bunch of it on this channel, and I ate up every bit of info that we got, and I'm kind of doing the opposite with Stories 2. I've watched the mainline trailers, but I haven't gone off and watched extra analyzing content, and I'm not sure that I would want to play the demo if they dropped it during E3 time, but at least it would be an option for other people who maybe haven't tried out the franchise before and are really interested in giving this game a go. Recently, I've been playing the original version of Link's Awakening for the first time. I didn't play the remake either, but I've been really enjoying that 2D Zelda format, and it's been something that's been really fun for me to do, and I'd like to get into that remake, but I just can't justify spending $60 on a game I'm already playing. I don't know, but I think that the remake format and the engine that Nintendo's created for the Link's Awakening remake is really awesome, and I want to see more games done in that style. There are the Oracle games, which are sort of in line with Link's Awakening, and I think they would work perfectly with this engine. Or who knows, maybe Nintendo could just create an entirely new Zelda using this same style. I think it works really well. At first, I wasn't a huge fan of how it looked visually, but I think if they just polish up some of the frame drops that was an issue in Link's Awakening, that this would be a fantastic format for them to do 2D Zeldas on the Nintendo Switch going forward. I can't wait to play a new 2D Zelda. It's something that they've sort of shied away from doing, sticking to remakes of the 2D games and then focusing on the 3D games. But I think that the 2D ones still have a special place in many people's hearts, and it would be really awesome to have a new 2D Zelda game announced for, who knows, maybe even the end of the year, maybe next year, sometime soon. One thing everybody really wants is Nintendo 64 games on the Nintendo Switch with the sort of online service that they've done for the NES and the Super NES. I don't think that it's likely, though, that it's going to happen, because it seems like they would have introduced it earlier, because we got NES in September, I think of 2018 maybe, and then SNES came in September of 2019, and then guess what? September of last year, we didn't really get anything. I don't know, there might have been delays on the service, but it doesn't really seem like that would be a thing, because, I mean, it's just slapping some ROMs on a service, so it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of effort that has to go into it. But after playing Super Mario 64 on my Switch, I've realized that I really want to play more 64 games in this format because I really like them and that's one of my favorite consoles. And I think better than doing the Nintendo 64 online, Nintendo should just, going forward, just combine everything into one singular app and sort of make it a virtual console app. And they launch it with 64 games, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance games. That would extend the library to a huge degree. Now, I was watching a video by another Nintendo YouTuber recently talking about some leaks about how this might potentially be a thing, but not only do you have the option to pay for the service to play the games, but if you really want to, you can buy individual games like you would on Virtual Console, and I think that that's a really awesome idea, and I think it's a good middle ground between sort of, just paying a fee like you would for Netflix and getting the games for a certain amount of time, rather than maybe if you really like a particular game like Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, you can actually just buy that one individually. I think that's a really awesome concept, and I would probably spend way too much money on it, but I think that they should totally look into doing just a very coherent, huge Virtual Console app that would allow you to also buy games. Okay, the final two that we're going to discuss today are pretty much at the same level as it comes to my hype and my pipe dream. But we'll go and discuss this one first. That is Xenoblade Chronicles X 2. For those who played Xenoblade Chronicles X, you know that the game ended on a sort of odd cliffhanger with unresolved plot points. And Monolith Soft has said bringing X over to the Switch would be a lot of work. So I think, based on the fact that Xenoblade 2 sold so much without many people even playing the first game, I think if they just have been working on Xenoblade X2 and drop it, especially with now the power that Xenoblade has as a franchise, seeing as how much 2, the original, and Torna all sold on the Switch, I think if they just jump for X2, that makes a lot of sense. I'm sort of trying to predict here. If they have been working on X2, they've probably been working on it for many years now. But I like X a lot. I like the setting. I think it's really cool how it's more futuristic as opposed to fantasy. And I think that having a sequel to it, it being one of my favorite video games of all time, would just be utterly fantastic. Now, what makes me doubt the fact that they're doing this is that it would be a lot of work, and they've already been working on other projects. Like, I would assume this game would have had to been in development before Xenoblade 2 came out in 2017. I mean, they've been working on that, they've been working on the Definitive Edition port, they've been working on Torna. I don't know. And they've also been talking about how they have a new franchise coming out, so I don't know. It just doesn't seem likely. That's why it's a pipe dream. But if they announce that at this E3, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, other than that, this one's sort of just a short little one to tack on to the end. But I want Breath of the Wild 2 to come out this year. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about the Switch Pro and it launching beside that and when that's coming out, and this person said this person has this rumor. I just don't really know who to trust anymore. But if Breath of the Wild 2 can come out this fall, I think it's going to really put Nintendo ahead, because we're getting the new Horizon game for PS5, which initially that game launched around the time the original Breath of the Wild came. So I think it'd be really cool to have them come out again and sort of be a little bit head-to-head and sort of, I guess, put and breathe more life into the console wars to a degree. But it would be really cool to see Nintendo put their best foot forward when it comes to the holiday season, because that's sort of the biggest time for gaming. Everybody's going out and buying games and consoles, and I would assume by then PS5 and Xbox Series X would probably have their act together when it comes to getting consoles out, so the shortages wouldn't be an issue anymore, and I think Nintendo would really have to throw some heavy punches in order to stay ahead of the game. that's going to do it for my E3 pipe dreams.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this video. We love talking to you guys. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like these. Lastly, check out our Twitter account for gameplay of the latest releases. But most importantly of all, remember to always stay one up.